Let's be precise about what just happened. The President of the United States just told reporters, and by extension, the justices he was about to face, that birthright citizenship was only ever meant for the children of slaves. He said it was enacted at the exact end of the Civil War, and that applying it to anyone else is a scam. Here is what he left out. The 14th Amendment does not say children of slaves. It says all persons born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. All persons. The Supreme Court confirmed this in 1898 in United States v. Wong Kim Mark, ruling that a child born to Chinese immigrants was a U.S. citizen. That case has been settled law for 128 years. No lower court in America has accepted the Trump administration's argument. Not one. Trump's own Solicitor General, D. John Sauer, was asked today whether he's requesting the court overturn Wong Kim, Arkansas. He said no. So even Trump's own lawyer is not making the argument Trump just made to the press. The president is publicly stating a more extreme position than his own legal team is willing to argue inside the courtroom.
And the Supreme Court tomorrow is going to hear arguments about your executive order trying to get rid of birthright citizenship.
And I'm going.
You're going to go to the Supreme Court
I think
tomorrow?
so. I do believe.
And just sit there and listen.
Because I have listened to this argument for so long, and this is not about Chinese billionaires or billionaires from other countries who all of a sudden have 75 children or 59 children in one case or 10 children becoming American citizens. This was about slaves. And if you take a look, slaves, we're talking about slaves from the Civil War. And if you take a look at when it was filed, all of this legislation, all of this, everything having to do with birthright citizenship, it was at the end of the Civil War. The reason was it had to do with the babies of slaves and the protection of the babies of slaves. It didn't have to do with the protection of multi-millionaires and billionaires wanting to have their children get an American citizenship. It is the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's been so badly handled by legal people over the years. If you look at the original birthright citizenship papers, they all happened right after the Civil War. The reason was it had to do with...
What Trump just described is not how the American judiciary works. It is how a loyalty system works. He divided the Supreme Court into two categories: justices who serve the president who appointed them, and justices who betray the president who appointed them. There is no third category. There is no room for independent legal reasoning. This matters because 5 weeks ago, the Supreme Court struck down Trump's tariffs in a 6-3 decision. Gorsuch and Barrett, two of Trump's 3 nominees, joined the majority. Trump's response was immediate and personal. He called the ruling deeply disappointing. He said the justices were a disgrace to our nation. He accused them of being swayed by foreign interests. At the NRCC dinner on March 26th, he said Gorsuch and Barrett sicken me and are bad for our country. And now, with the birthright citizenship case, Trump has already pre-written the narrative. On Truth Social 2 days ago, he posted, "Dumb judges and justices will not a great country make." He predicted the court will find a way to come to the wrong conclusion. He is pre-delegitimizing the ruling before it even happens. If the court rules for him, he wins. If it rules against him, the justices are dumb, disloyal, and swayed by foreign interests. It is a framework designed to make judicial independence itself look like a failure.
The babies of slaves. And hopefully it's going to say, because our country is being scammed. We're getting all of these people. They're selling the rights to them. People are making a big living, getting hundreds of thousands and even millions of dollars from bringing people in and saying, congratulations, your whole family is going to be a citizen of the United States of America. That's not what it was for. It wasn't for billionaires bringing people in or family in. It was for the children of slaves. And what you really have to do, and I don't think the lawyers talk about it as much, look at when the Civil War ended and look at the date of when this was enacted. Okay.
Have you ever been to the Supreme Court before? Is this going to be the first time going to the Supreme
No,
Court?
I went once before, the opening of the Supreme Court in the last administration.
And which justices will you be listening for most closely?
I love a few of them.
Today, April 1st, 2026, Donald Trump did something no sitting president has done in modern American history. He walked into the Supreme Court of the United States to personally watch oral arguments on his own executive order. The case is Trump versus Barbara, and it asks a simple question. Can a president, by executive order, override the 14th Amendment and strip birthright citizenship from babies born on American soil? But before Trump walked into that courtroom, he sat in the Oval Office and delivered a message to the justices he was about to face. Not a legal brief. Not a respectful nod to judicial independence. He ripped into the very judges he put on the bench. He called Republican-appointed justices stupid for ruling against him. He mocked their independence as weakness. And he made it clear, in his view, justices exist to serve the president who appointed them. This is the same man who, just 5 weeks ago, called Justices Gorsuch and Barrett an embarrassment to their families after they ruled against his tariffs. The same man who said they sickened him at a Republican fundraiser last week. Today, he walked into their courtroom.
I don't like some others. And you say what you want, but you have the ones that were appointed by Barack Hussein Obama and Biden. I don't care how good your case is. You can have the greatest case ever. They're going to rule against you. They always do. And it's not supposed to be that way. Now, the Republicans tend to be very different. They want to show how honorable they are. So a man can appoint them and they can rule against him. It's so proud of it. We're so proud we ruled against Trump. We're so proud. We're above it. There are those that say that's wonderful. And there are those that say they're so stupid. But the Democrats never fail at one thing. When Barack Hussein Obama or when Biden appoints somebody, they go along that line. You can have the greatest case in history. And almost, I guess I have to say almost, maybe I don't have to say it, almost without fail, those people, 4 of them, sometimes 5 of them, but 4 of them, will vote against you. You don't have a chance. You don't have a chance. And that's not what the court system is. Now, the Republican appointees tend to go, and this has been long before me. This has been for many years. Some people would call it stupidity. Some people would call it disloyalty. Some people would say they're right in doing it. And I don't mind being right, but the other side almost never does it. Almost. I think you could find maybe a couple of instances. Almost never does. When a Democrat appoints a judge, and I'm talking about judges, not just justices, you go before some of these Democrat judges in Washington, D.C., and you don't have a chance. That's why I gave pardons to hundreds of people that were so badly treated, having to do with J6. Yeah.
Let's connect what just happened. In a single 4-minute exchange with reporters, Donald Trump did 3 things that would have been unthinkable in any previous presidency. First, he publicly attacked the independence of the Supreme Court justices he appointed, mocking them for trying to be impartial and calling their independence stupidity. Then he walked into their courtroom, the first sitting president to attend oral arguments, creating a scene that legal scholars across the political spectrum have called an act of judicial intimidation. Second, he presented a constitutional argument that his own Solicitor General will not make inside the courtroom. Trump claims birthright citizenship applies only to the children of slaves. His own lawyer told the justices today that he is not asking them to overturn the 128-year-old precedent that says otherwise. The president is publicly more extreme than his own legal team. Third, he connected this entire topic to his January 6th pardons. He claimed that Democrat-appointed judges in D.C. gave J6 defendants no chance, and that is why he issued pardons. In Trump's framing, the entire judicial system, from district courts to the Supreme Court, is either loyal to him or broken. This is the broader pattern. When Trump won the tariff case at the appellate level, the courts worked. When the Supreme Court struck down those same tariffs, the justices became a disgrace. When judges block his birthright order, they are dumb. When they might rule for him, he shows up in person to watch. The judiciary is legitimate when it agrees with Trump. It is corrupt when it does not. The case of Trump versus Barbara will be decided by July. The constitutional question, whether a president can override the 14th Amendment by executive order, has a 128-year answer. But the political question this clip raises is different and more dangerous. What happens when a president treats the Supreme Court not as an independent branch of government, but as a scoreboard? If this breakdown gave you clarity, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Drop your take in the comments. And share this video because this story is not going away.